A while back, an entity of light had been given a task as a few souls were given the challenge to go back to Earth to help a lost soul that was finding it hard to cope with life. Unfortunately, the souls that were given the opportunity still remembered how difficult their time on Earth was and decided together that they didn't want the help. Human souls knew too much and were afraid to take on such a challenging task. They took it upon themselves to find another soul that was pure and innocent. When asked what soul was going to take on this task, they pointed towards a small light. The voice asked how such a small soul could take on such a big task. The souls replied, "The soul we chose is pure and knows not of human thinking and shall guide with its own thought and wisdom." The voice agreed and asked, "And what form should this soul take?" "A soul that is pure and knows not of human thinking needs to be strong and be able to show wisdom without speaking." The souls thought such a form to be impossible. The voice became angry at the souls. "You took it upon yourselves to pass this challenge to a small light," said the voice. "So be it, and you shall be sent back to Earth as scampering roaches." With that, the souls took form. The voice looked at the small light which continued to shine and asked, "You are pure." Light grew brighter. "You are wise." The light took on a golden hue. "I choose you," said the voice. "You must go to Earth and save a lost soul. You will know when you get to Earth who this soul belongs to." With that, the voice sent the soul in the form of a cat. Arriving on Earth, the cat felt hungry, found some tasty roaches to eat, and at that very moment the cat found the lost soul in the form of a broken man. That man was James Bowen, written by Martin Pickett. Bob was a very special and truly marvelous cat who inspired millions of people around the globe with his unending love. Thank you, Bob. You're a much-loved cat who gave so much hope for a good and better future. My cuddling cat Turnip, and I love you to the utmost. You are simply great. You shall live forever in all people's memories and hearts. You are a symbol of freedom, never-ending care, loyalty and love and a good life, even in poverty. Love to you, also to your fluffy family, James, and to everyone who also loves Bob. By Bettina Schwartz. I first read about Bob in your beautiful book. He instantly became a piece of my heart. Living in New York, I thought what a dream come true to meet you too it would be. I followed all your posts, bought the movies and every calendar, picture and magazine I could find. Bob was a true angel on earth. I learned through you that animals, especially cats, could heal the hole in your heart and change a person's life. Bob inspired me to become a volunteer at a local animal shelter and also to foster kittens. I know in my heart there will never be another Bob. He was put on earth to save and love you and give all who knew him joy and hope. You will always be in my heart and I am forever grateful to you for sharing him with this world. By Mary Ann Squire. It was a huge privilege to be a part of Bob's life. I loved every moment I spent with him and will always be so grateful that I had the opportunity to do so. It was so much fun working with him at events and getting to chat with his many fans, as well as spending time with him at his home. Through Bob I have met so many people. People I've laughed with, people I've cried with, people who have gone on to become some of my dearest friends. All because a few years back I read a book about a man and a cat. I've read a lot of books in my time. This one actually changed my life. By Lucy the Amazing Admin. Thank you again. Bob was a one-off. There will never be another cat like him. The bond you had together was so precious. We will remember Bob always. By Jan Beasley. I love and miss Bob very much. He is so much more than a cat. He is unique. He is like a human in a fur coat. A wise old man who has been here before and learned all there is to know. A guru maybe. He has an uncanny knowledge. He showed us there is always hope and that we should stand by our friends no matter what. Watching Bob, he is so laid back and imperturbable that nothing phases him. He just takes it all in his stride. Watching Bob taught me not to stress out when things go wrong or problems arise. I used to be a nervous wreck at these times, but watching Bob I have learned that stressing out is pointless and achieves nothing. It has changed my life as I am now a calmer person. This is Bob means so much to me. He will always be dear to my heart. Thank you, Bob. By Wendy Downset. I first heard of James and Bob in 2014. I had my own cats, one since he was a kitten. I am disabled and also have anxiety and depression. My cats are so important to me. Misty was my best friend. In April 2014 I had a heart attack and cardiac arrests. Due to this, I was visually impaired and spent 3 weeks in hospital. Whilst I was there, my friend told me about James and Bob. She said I needed to recover to read their book. When I got home, Misty meowed loudly and jumped into my arms, reminding me how strong the bond between cats and humans can be. My sight gradually returned and I started the book. I could really understand James and his bond with Bob. I was determined to meet them, even though I hadn't traveled for years due to agoraphobia, let alone traveled on a train since I was a child. I also had to go on a tube for the first time to meet them when my dream came true in June 2016. I remembered when they walked into the assembly hall with Bob proudly on James's shoulder. I was here in the same room as them. I cried tears of joy for the first time in years. Listening to James talk about his experiences whilst being homeless helped me begin my journey to achieve my future dream. I started volunteering in a homeless shelter. I had volunteered in mental health services for many years, but my dream was to become a counselor. I reminded myself of James and Bob every day, focusing on the phrase everybody deserves a second chance. I was being given a second chance, so I started my training. Sadly, I lost my Misty in July 2019, just before starting my diploma. I knew I had to continue my journey to fulfill my dream without my boy beside me, when all I felt like doing was giving up. I am a wheelchair user, and due to this, finding a placement was almost impossible thanks to a lack of accessible buildings. I nearly gave up. I miss my Misty every single day, but I focused on my goal. The only agency I could get into was a substance misuse agency, which wasn't my first choice due to my upbringing, but James and Bob came into my mind. I had talked about them throughout my training, so in a way it felt really fitting. In June 2020, Bob sadly died, and I was sitting in my Zoom lecture crying at the loss of Bob, but equally for James, as I care a lot for them both. I felt so sad, I wasn't sure if I could carry on at my placement. I thought of Bob and James and the great work they had done together. I then knew I couldn't give up now. James and Bob had inspired me to recover, become a counselor, and be alongside people as they work towards their recovery, just as Misty had done for me and Bob had done for James. I know that without James and his special little man Bob, my love for them, the inspiration they gave me, and my determination, I wouldn't be where I am today. Volunteering in the substance misuse agency, beginning my private practice, and wanting to specialize in trauma, which is generally behind addiction. Pets really are a lifeline for some people, more than is realized. Misty, James and Bob will remain in my heart forever. I love and miss Bob very much. He is so much more than a cat. He is unique. He is like a human in a fur coat. A wise old man who has been here before and learned all there is to know. A guru maybe. He has an uncanny knowledge. He showed us there is always hope and that we should stand by our friends no matter what. Watching Bob, he is so laid back and imperturbable that nothing phases him. He just takes it all in his stride. Watching Bob taught me not to stress out when things go wrong or problems arise. I used to be a nervous wreck at these times, but watching Bob I have learned that stressing out is pointless and achieves nothing. It has changed my life as I am now a calmer person. This is why Bob means so much to me. He will always be dear to my heart. Thank you, Bob. By Wendy D. Days will always be brighter because Bob existed. By Patricio Suarez Faney. After I began to read the first 2 books, I became convinced that Bob was sent here with a mission. The story of Bob and James touched lives all over the world and even helped others to turn their lives around. I've read stories of animals that are actually angels in furry disguise, which is my way of thinking. Others may have a different perspective, but I do think most people agree that there was a reason Bob came into James's life, whether through a higher power or not. Through Bob and his stories, I've met some wonderful people from different corners of the world, and for this reason I will always treasure his existence. By Denise Brown. Bob confirmed what I always suspected, that angels come in all forms to show us how to truly love unconditionally. The best form, of course, being a cat. He is independent enough to know when we need our space to work things out, but caring enough to be there when needed most. God bless you with Bob, and all of us with your story, to help us see a different side to life, so we could learn empathy and understanding. Thank you so much for sharing your angel. By Debbie EMSER